It is very bright in this room right now, but that is for a good reason, I promise. Today is going to be a bookshelf tour. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is going to be a 2026 bookshelf tour. I don't think I've done an actual tour of this room since we've been here. I don't know if that's incorrect or not. Don't quote me on any of that. But recently, I sort of made the decision to take off things off my shelves that were not necessarily bringing me joy. It's not to say I don't want to read them, but just certain series that I had on here for aesthetic purposes, because I've been here for 4 years, right? My audience is the loyalists who've been here for a long time. I've got a very, very small audience, and I trust that they are people who genuinely want to be here. So I want to be as authentic as I can be on this channel, and that means getting rid of some things that are there purely because the masses like it. So already you can probably look behind me and see that Wheel of Time and Realm of the Elderlings are both not on the shelves anymore, and they've been replaced with some of my more pre-loved paperbacks. So what I did over the last couple of days was this shelf here is a new addition. It's still the TBR shelf of things that I do want to get to relatively soon, so that won't change like the idea behind this particular shelf. You can see the shark knickknacks have moved to on top of there. I still also have an indie shelf in the middle. We'll go through it as I walk through them, but this shelf here, this one, has changed a little bit, and also this one over here has changed a little bit, and I've also done a bit of a tidy of my feral shelves. So they're not necessarily feral shelves anymore. I mean, they're still beat up paperbacks all over them, but I will take you through what I have in here. Just ignore the feral shelves because they have not been dusted. These ones have sort of been dusted. But anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to take you on a journey through the shelves and sort of show you where I keep things. There is no rhyme or reason to most of this except for things like the indie shelf. So we're just going to go through what I've got, and if you like it, that's great. If you don't like any of this for your own shelves, I completely understand because it's unhinged in here. But let's go over to the shelves. We are going to be starting with the shark shelf. So a lot of the little knickknacks that I've had on top of the shelves have come over here. We've got, this is actually like a trackable shark by a company called Fallow. So I track a hammerhead called Hamilton with a double M. These are some stuff that like Ryan printed for me. This is a dusty Lego, but like this little tiger shark and this little whale shark were all 3D printed, as well as this guy. Got some nano blocks. There's a folio edition of Jaws. This is a megalodon tooth that my housemate got for me for Christmas, and the the Christmas card, and just some random bits and pieces. This is also a housemate gift. Little duck in the shark suit. It's very cute. Okay, this is the TBR shelf. So I'm not going to go through these one by one or anything like that. These are series that are on my immediate radar and a couple of standalones here, and they just sort of came in wherever they fit. So there's actually some additions to this shelf. So these two are new additions to the TBR shelf. They are both series concluders that I would like to finish this year, if at all possible. More 2026 TBR here, and then we come down to the reread shelf. So there's a few rereads that I'd like to do. This series here, this is the Saga of the Noble Dead. This is the first arc. It's actually a 14-book series by Barb and J.C. Hendy. You can see those first two are very well loved. I've reread that first one 3 times, and I've read Thief of Lies twice, but I haven't gone on to the rest of the series, so I am planning on doing that at some point. Then we have a couple of new additions down here as well. So most of this stuff you know that I've got for this year at some point. I've added Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Carhill. I will bring this out. This is the Trad Pub edition of the book that I got from Booktopia, so that arrived. I also have put Tess of the D'Herbals down here on the to be read shelf, which wasn't there initially. And a friend gifted me this when I first moved to Perth as a joke. And I was like, don't joke about books. I'll read it. Maybe I'll like it. I don't know. Bookshelf 1. Now we're going to move on to the feral shelves. Alright, starting at the top of the feral shelves, we have got some middle grade and some YA. These two are new, I think. But they are also YA. Let's have a look. So, we've got Queen of Faces by Petra Lord, Trans YA, Trans Femme YA, and The Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. Just YA. I really like that cover, which is what prompted me to pick that up. But yeah, I don't know much more about it other than that. Joe Kristoff, I ended up keeping them, but I just don't have them outwardly facing on the shelves. This is a sci-fi told in prose, which is really cool. I quite enjoyed that. Divine Comedy, I did this like a buddy read, and I read the first one, didn't continue on. And then we've got some non-fiction over here with Joshua Walker. I've got 2 copies of that, so that just like fit in there. Over here, we've got some sci-fi, so we've got some beat up. This is 4 to 6 of Dune, Hyperion, Xu Shin Lu, and some Michael Crichton. Sean Williams is just sort of hanging out there because I don't have anywhere else to put it. Down here we've got the physical media stack of my CDs, and then some more sort of classics, and then there's a H.G. Wells collection behind there. This is where the CDs go. Then we come down to like manga and, well, Joe Hill's Stephen King's son, but I guess Stephen King and his son, and Dust. This little thing was my grandma's. I was obsessed with it as a kid, and then she gave it to me when I moved to, she passed away and I stole it. I was like, this is the thing. I'm not a big knick-knack person, bar sharks, but this thing I was like obsessed with as a child, and I nicked it. Come down to just some more horror. I've read these 2, actually I've read these 3, and then I went through a stage of like buying secondhand horror, and I think this is actually a thriller, and like this is literary, Catch-22 down here, and then some more Dust and Ducks. Oh yeah, have I done a bookshelf tour before with the Ducks? Maybe it's different now. Then we've got some just odd bits and pieces. So I have the first 2 of both of these series. This is the Sarah El Sarifi series. I have no idea what it's called. And then I've got the Chorus of Dragons, book 1 and 2. This is actually my housemate's, but I read the first one and I said I would read the second one. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. This is the book that broke me, so thank you for that. I really want to read this. I bought it ages ago. I have not read any L.E. Modesett Jr., but it's on my radar. This is the Book of Shadows from Charmed. We've got the Brando Sando shelf. Move that. That usually covers the curtain. I don't hate Brandon Sanderson by any means, but he's not like a prolific writer to me. I enjoyed Mistborn well enough. I enjoyed the ending. I have relatively no desire to read whatever this one is, the big one. I will read Alloy of Law at some point, and I do have Elantris and Warbreaker on the main shelves because I am like genuinely interested in reading them. Over here we just have Matthew Riley and some more Stephen King's. This is the Dark Tower series. Come down, I've got some Ian Irvine that just are too big to fit anywhere, and I have a couple of... So Bold the Wizard is self-pub, and then I've got just a couple of stragglers there. And then over here, we've got some Raymond D. Feist, something I'll get to someday. I'm probably going to read the Raymond Feist Jenny Wirtz one first. We'll see how we go. And then down the bottom here, I'm not going to be bothered pulling all of this out. A lot of this is just like I've got one book from all of these authors to try out. This here, this stack that you're looking at right now, is mostly self-pub, bar Con Eagledon, Grady Hendrix, and Sylvia Moreno Garcia. But I haven't tried them yet, so a random stack of books I'm not sure about, I will try and then decide to DNF or keep it. And then I've got another shelf down here where it's just like dude bro fantasy that I'm not super sure about. So we've got some David Gemmell. I've heard good things, but I haven't tried it. Got some more L.E. Modesett Jr. that I have heard okay things about and just not tried. Gareth Hanrahan, Terry Brooks. We've got some of the Shannara books over here, and then Eric Van Lustbader. I can't pronounce that correctly, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to read them, but they are here, and I will at least give them a go. These ones here, the Eric Van Lustbader, I can't pronounce it, actually belonged to my friend Nathan, and he was getting rid of a bunch of his books, and they sort of caught my fancy, but I haven't picked it up yet. So those are the two not main shelves, and now we're going to go move over to the main shelves, and hopefully less dust. Okay, we are going to start with this shelf, and there is a pirate ship which has been shaming me for years. I bought it and just never built it. I will build it at some point. Okay, we have a horror shelf. Now, a lot of this stuff I haven't actually read on this particular shelf. The reason for that is I want to be constantly excited by the things on my shelves and things that I'm looking forward to reading, but that does mean a lot of this shit hasn't been read. So, this is all horror. We'll get nice and close to it, but it is all horror over here. Some classics, old school horror, and then we have the Stephen Kings that I'm interested in reading but have not read yet. This one here is Under the Dome in the corner. This is a beautiful beautiful hardback, but that's a big book. That's very heavy to read. I need to read more horror. I genuinely enjoy horror. Yeah, a lot of novellas. I have read these. These are cool. So I've got a Sayaka Murata book, Vanishing World, just some translated horror, and also Strange Pictures. What a cool cover that is. I will put that back later. There's many, many horrors. Then we come down to some sci-fi. So, got Adrian Tchaikovsky, we've got some Jeff Vandermeer, so we've got a lot of Jeff Vandermeer. This one I'm looking forward to reading by Sim Kern. They are quite politically outspoken on Instagram/Bookstagram, and I'm curious as to what a work of fiction would look like for them because of what they speak about. We also have The Sky Is Yours. I'm not sure about this one, but I bought it because the cover is nuts. Hello? I have no idea what it's about, but I will try it at some point. I'm genuinely thinking that I'm going to enjoy this just because of people who don't enjoy it. This is another beautiful cover. The Expanded Earth by Mickey Please. Mikey Please? Are you kidding me? Beautiful. Then I've got some SF Masterworks over here with Asimov at the top. Not an SF Masterwork like edition, but still an SF Masterwork. Then we come over here, some more Adrian Tchaikovsky. We're looking forward to reading this at some point. And then I've got some Warhammer. I will start... Why? Anyway, going down, we have some more sci-fi over here. So we've got sci-fi that Ryan got me onto with Anne Leckie. Sci-fi Ryan didn't really like with the Megan O'Keefe there, which usually means I'll like it more. A couple of the Expanse series, it was fine enough for me to pick up the second one, we'll see. Quite curious about the Christopher Rocchio. I love these sizes of books. I cannot find the rest of them in this size, so I'm staging a protest until I've read them and see if I like them. Some Peter F. Hamilton. I didn't love Exodus. Like, it was fine. It was very, very long and meandering. So I'll give this series a go because I own it. I mean, I didn't hate it by any means. And then some more. Yeah, Jeremy Sal's, I think maybe local. Don't quote me on that. And then we have Name of the Wind and Wise Man's Fear, which, if we ever get a third book, I'll reread it. And then His Dark Materials over here. Then this next shelf is a bunch of fantasy. Fantasy I've only got 1 or 2 books from. I'm not going through all of them. We've got the Lahades in the middle here with their stack. This is in the wrong order. The Charm Sphere is actually book 1, so that needs to probably go first. And just some more Dubro fantasy over here. So many Tchaikovsky books. So many Tchaikovsky book 1s that I have not read. And then down here we have historical fiction, so it's going to be awkward with the camera the way it is, but Cicero I bought when Theo from Rekindled Reader and I were initially going to read it, and we just didn't. And then I have read relatively none of these. And then we come over to some classics. I have read one of the classics. I read Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier, but no others. Alright, coming up here we have, shockingly, more sharks. Hello. And then we start our indie shelf. Did I dusted poorly. This is all indie fantasy and sci-fi. So we have a bunch here. I have read I've actually read 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've read at least 11 on this shelf. That is the most books on a shelf that I have read. Is going to be the indie shelf. So I would like to read this series as well. This is the Ross Kingston series of beautiful covers. And then this was Rachel's from Ryan, and I stole it. So I'm not going to apologise for that, because look, so cute. Then we come down to some hardbacks. So I have read most of these as well. I've read all of them, all of that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. I've read most of this shelf. Hooray for me in actually reading things. Then we have this little dragon that I lost for a while. Isn't it cute? Okay, I have not read these, but the author sent them to me kindly, so I really do need to get a wriggle on there. I have read this one, The Last Ranger. Actually, the last Kickstarter has just gone live, so I need to go and back that so I can have matching sets. It is a beautiful, beautiful set of books. A couple of Aussies. Mark Timoney, you all know, my friend, and then Joshua Walker. One of my favourite indie series is the Malatu series here. And then I also really like this one from Kate and Love, was this series, the Elegy of Fragmented Vineyard. Another one of my favourites is the Rob J. Hayes, the War Eternal series with Iskara Helsine at the helm. I've not read these yet. I will at some point. Olivia J. Elliott, fantastic speculative fantasy author. One of my books of the year in the last recent years. Really underrated Aussie author, Luke Schultz, L.R. Schultz, just fantastic. Oh my goodness, A Handsome Gentleman is here. This one. A fantastic book. If you haven't read it, I highly, highly recommend it. Survival sci-fi, genetic fuckery. It's just a 10 out of 10. Like, so good. Please buy my book. Over here, we have Brendan Noble. It's a crime I haven't read this yet. I really do need to. And then same with J.E. Hannaford and Timothy Wolfe here. These have got some of my favourite covers on the planet. Stop it. Are you kidding me? Beautiful. Alright, down to the next shelf. We have got some Palmer Pickering, some H.C. Newell, some Jessica McMinn, John Palladino, really cool. E.J. Noble, I need to reread that series. Jacqueline Hagan. The sequel to Vevensong has just been announced, so that's really cool. Very much looking forward to that. We have got some cosmic horror here. These covers are also really cool. This is Stephen William Hanna. Amazing. JCM Byrne is a legend and has sent me these three. I really, really enjoy this series. I need to get to this one soon. Blood Reunion. We've got some Cam Sinclair there, and also some Andrew C. Piazza, which is a Song for the Void. This is also cosmic horror, I'm pretty sure, and I've been told by people I trust that I'm really going to enjoy that one. Then we come to this bottom shelf. We've got some Zamil Akhtar, which I do need to continue on with. Then just a bunch of authors that I'm really interested in reading, but I haven't picked up yet, like P.L. Stewart, Morgan Shank. There's another Morgan Shank in here. Yeah, it's over here. I really enjoyed the Aspect series by Mark Holloway. This is a fantastic sci-fi, The Iron Truth, military sci-fi, more up my alley than the space operas. We've got one of the most beautifully written books I've ever read, Legacy of the Vermilion Blade. We've got this one. This is the Morgan Shank one that I was talking about. We've got A Council of Thesia by D.H. Hoskins, one of my favourite political fantasies. Anyway, this is cool. So Ricky at the moment, he is currently re-releasing this. He's done like another edition of it, but I'm one of the only people with this copy of A Line Unsundered. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Now I want to turn your attention to a dairy cow who is currently in the way of what we're about to do. Okay, we are at the last shelf. Let me just get you a bit taller. Woo. We have the Steven Erikson, The Molassen Book of the Fallen up here, held by, well, not really held. Held, it looks like in a distance, but it's not actually touching it. I would like to get these on the shelves, but look, they don't fit anywhere, and they look fine up there. Then we come down to the top shelf here, where we've got broken binding editions, Tentacle, or just heavy hardbacks. The Le Guin books, just some hardbacks, and then most of these are broken binding until we get down to here. I think we're getting books 3 and 4 of this series this year. The Dark Gods is the series name, and I will probably need to reread it, so that will very likely be on my 2027 TBR with the new books. Elle from Elliot Brooks got me interested in those, and then we've got a couple of book ones up there. Coming down, one of the, I guess, classic series that survived on this shelf is the Game of Thrones. I do want to read it, I just don't know when. Ray Bradbury is there because, like, also classic, and I don't know, there was a gap here and it was annoying me. Coming over here, we've got this series that I know nothing about, but I'm curious. This comes really highly recommended from Mark, and it is one that has drawn my attention as well. So this collection of the 3 books has taken years to get them in the same covers. So they're now here. Then we come to the Tad Williams collection. I know everyone loves Memory of Sorrow and Thorn. I started Tad Williams with War of the Flowers, and it's here because I probably will reread it at some point. The idea behind these shelves is I want books that I have read and will consider rereading, or I just, like, I love them, in which point I probably would reread them anyway. But everyone loves this series. I don't like hype trains. So I'm probably going to start, in terms of series, with Otherland, which I think may be video game-esque, like references, or like worlds within worlds. I'm unsure, but that one is probably drawing me more so than Memory of Sorrow and Thorn. Then we have Kate Elliott, which is another author that I would love to try. This is a series I said I was going to start with, so it's on here because I'm excited to read it, and I just want these shelves filled with things that I'm excited to read, and I loved The Tiger's Daughter, so that has earned its place. Coming down here, I just finished A Natural History of Dragons. Absolutely loved it. I've got these Erin Morganson ones, which I've had on the shelves for ages. I think when I first started watching BookTube, Books with Brittany got me really excited for these, and I bought them and then never read them, so I will read them at some point. I don't know when, but whenever I'm looking for some flowery prose, I'll probably get to those. I love Jenny Wirtz, that is not a secret, so here are the books that I've read. I've read all of these, bar The Master of Whitestorm, which I think is a standalone. One of my favourite standalones to this day is To Ride Hell's Chasm. This Way, Rise Camelot is also good, but it's a series of short stories, and then this series was written as like a getting ready for her big Wars of Light and Shadow series. So we've got some, like, if you like some like fuckery with sci-fi and fantasy elements, then this one probably will be for you. It's a little bit more, from what I understand, I actually haven't read Wars of Light and Shadow, but a little bit more easy to get into and to start reading to get a taste of Jenny's writing. Then we come to some Lynn Flewelling, I can speak. This is a 7-book series, but this is the first arc that I've got here. Got some Samantha Shannon, got some Tracy Harding. This is a sci-fi series, I want to say. I just got book 3 of this. I actually picked it up yesterday at the time of filming, so I will probably read this in 2027 as well. I think book 5 is currently with an editor, and I think there's 6 books planned for the series. So I read this series here, which is the Book of Words. You can see they're well loved. Absolutely loved it, and I have not read this one yet. Then we've got some Australian, so Fiona McIntosh is an Aussie fantasy author, and then R.F. Kwong. I'm reading Babel right now, quite enjoying the writing. If I'm not like enjoying the whole like plotline of the book, it's fine, but the writing is nice, so I wouldn't mind reading that one as well. Coming down here, we have the Lahades of fantasy, and Devon Madsen. I am not sure if they are non-binary, but I think they do use 2 pronouns. So basically, the shelf is not men on this one. So I've read Sword of Kai again. I haven't read a lot of these yet until we get to... Oh, I've read some. So I've read the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. I really liked it. I would reread it, which is why it's on the shelves. And then I have also read The Ninth Reign and the Mask and Mirrors, or the Rook and Rose series by M.A. Carrick. So here you're probably going to see these 2 series on a 2027 TBR of some sort. I will probably read those fairly close together. Next one, we have got Dude Bros in Fantasy. So this Bradley P. Beaulieu, I think is how you pronounce it, series is all different sizes. I'm so sorry for people who care about that. I don't. I have little hands, so I actually prefer the mass market paperbacks. Not everyone does. This is a 6-book series. I got super excited about this one because of Holly Hart's books, and I just never read it, so it's there for whenever I get to it. Now, I did mention I had these two on here, so Warbreaker and Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I am genuinely looking forward to giving those a go as standalone, so they can stay on the shelves. Then we move over just to, I guess, Dubro Fantasy Island over here. Evan Winter, I think, is currently writing. I don't know if we're close to book 3 in that series. The Brian McClellan stuff is stuff that my father-in-law really liked, as well as this Anthony Ryan series here, the Raven's Shadow. Mark Lawrence, I've never read. I really should. And then we've got some Jackson Ford over here, as well as just a couple of throw-ins there. So we've got the first series in the Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham, which I do want to read. I just don't know when. And last but not least, we have the bottom shelf here. So got a bunch of R.A. Salvatore for the Forgotten Realms series. I've read the first 2 and then just never continued on. I will at some point. Got some Chris Wooding here. I believe this series is called The Tales of like Ketty J, and I've heard that it's super underrated. So, at some point. David Douglas. I read my first David Douglas series last year, and I really enjoyed it. So I will probably pick those up. I was going to say soon, not this year. Soon adjacent. Got the series The Lives of Lachlan Mora. I'm unsure if I'm going to like that series. We'll see. Mike Brooks, also an author high on my radar. The John Gwynne series, so I actually have read The Faithful and the Fallen, and I would consider rereading it physically. So, John Gwynne is an author I got my father-in-law into, which is interesting. I've not read The Shadow of the Gods yet. We then have the Tide Child trilogy, which I absolutely adored, and even the Books of Babel by Josiah Bancroft. I really, really enjoyed those as well. And then we have the first 2 books in the Dandelion Dynasty, which I will read at some point. I'm excited to. I just haven't yet. That's all the books that I have on these shelves. That was the bookshelf tour. I'm sorry about the breathiness of it all. Just, it's been a day and I am unfit. Or unfit enough to be jumping up and down looking at shelves. So I apologise for having to hear intakes of breath throughout that entire thing. An embarrassing amount of these books are unread. I probably read the most from the indie shelf. I did a lot of buying very early on in my booktube journey, like both watching and recording videos. I am reading more these days. I'm reading more from my shelves, but I'm also reading more from my Kindle and Audible, and they're fairly balanced. I'm doing a lot better at not just buying willy-nilly at the moment. Like, I still go into bookstores and want to buy stuff, and I am still buying things, but I think the amount that I've bought so far in this year is like 10 to 12 books, including ebooks and audiobooks. I will probably do like quarterly book hauls, and they're going to be relatively small. Whereas previously, I would probably buy 20 in a month. And you can see the shelves behind me are quite stacked. I don't have very much room for more stuff unless I start double stacking, which is always an option, but I would kind of prefer to have this amount of books and just be consistently excited about the things that I'm going to read. There are going to be things behind me that don't necessarily gel with me, and I'll donate them and then just get more books that do. So the only shelves I can see really maybe getting a bit more on them and maybe needing double stacking is going to be horror and classics that I'm quite interested at the moment, and maybe some sci-fi. I'm still trying to really nail what specific subgenres of sci-fi that I enjoy, so I'm sure there'll be some more exploration there. In terms of the feral shelves, I don't really want them to grow too much. I just want to be buying books that I am excited for, and then swap things out if I want to put them on the shelves that I am really keen to read. This TBR shelf is probably going to be the one that changes the most over the next little bit. So anyway, that was enough ranting from me. That was a bookshelf tour. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.